Welcome to the brevardNEWS Meet Series. It is designed to introduce you to various business, political, sports personalities, and everyday Brevard citizens. I'm Kevin Jeffrey, your host, and joining me today, meet Jessie Wright, who is the owner of the Titusville Resort and Destination. Welcome, Jessie, to our show. It's glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself at first. Where were you born, and how did you end up in Titusville? First, start off with where were you born?
I was actually born in Tehran, Iran, and I've been in this country now since '73.
So how did you end up? So Tehran, tell us a little bit about what that was like growing up in Tehran.
Fortunately, when I was there, when I left, politically the country was stable. It is not now. It's a very bad regime, basically pro-Islamic Sharia law, and the country has gone the other way for nearly about 45 years.
So you were actually ahead of some of the most tumultuous times there at the end of the 70s, where there was a problem with the Shah of Iran and so forth.
Correct.
So what was it like during that time?
It was difficult because obviously the Shah was running the country better than what it is now. It was never a free type of a country, but right now Islamic and Sharia law basically runs the country, and so everything in terms of political climate, any kind of a demonstration, women demonstration, they seems like they just take them, they rape them, kill them. They don't like any kind of protest, almost like Russia. You either agree with the regime or you don't, and that's the way it is right now.
The average American doesn't understand that, right?
No, it's really unfortunate. We take our freedom in this country for granted, and the Islam laws are gradually coming into Europe, and at some point in time it's going to get to US as well. I mean, you see some of the protests from Palestinians in multiple cities in US, and that is despicable to do things that are just against our law.
There are some indications even in America that there is some movements behind enacting Sharia law in various parts of the country. What do you think when you hear people talk that way?
Well, as you know, the population, people that used to go to churches, some of these people now being radicalized. You saw what happened in New Orleans. You saw certain mass shootings that is happening. My gut feeling is if you don't like our rules here in this country, I'm totally Americanized. So if you don't like our laws here in the US, you should go back to wherever the hell you came from. You either accept it or just go back. We don't need to hear how we can build back better. We have what we have, and it's getting better and better with the Republican administrations coming in. So that's my gut feeling, that either shut up or live with it, or go back.
What drove you, as you were growing up in Iran, what were your thoughts about America and what drove you to come here?
Well, US obviously has the most nicest and type of engineering school. I came to get my mechanical, aerospace, and pilot license. I came only to get my degrees and go back. But when I got my licenses, I could not go back because the regime change happened. My dad was a colonel in the U.S. In the Iranian military, and if he didn't come here, I called him up. I said, "You need to leave." They would have killed him as well. So it was a difficult time back in '79, '80, and '81, where there was a lot of exodus coming from Iran to U.S.
So was it a general consensus in Iran at the time you were growing up that America was a place of promise or hope?
Absolutely. Back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, we accepted all kind of, like Jewish people or, any sort of Hindus or any other religion. But now it's strictly Islam and no other type of, any sort of religion is not acceptable. You cannot be a Jewish and live in Iran right now. You cannot be a Christian living in Iran right now. So those are the type of people that they would target, and they put them in Iran prison, which is probably the worst prison that you've ever seen. Multiple type of punishments. Women get raped. They want to get rid of the evidence, so they have to kill the women that they're raping. This is what's happening in Iran right now. And I'm an advocate right now for that change of regime.
And there's a lot of communication that the people of Iran really don't want that.
Correct.
That they're being ruled against their will.
That's right. We've got about 80 million people population-wise, and we're hoping that we'll be able to change the regime within the next 2 or 3 years to have the country being a free country, to be able to vote and demonstrate just like in the US or any other European countries.
So how did you arrive in America?
Well, I came just for getting my engineering degrees and go back. I did get my mechanical aerospace and my pilot license, but then I stayed.
Where did you come to America? Was it California or?
Oh,
where?
yeah, I came actually to Oklahoma.
Hey, now that's a
Yes.
great state.
Yes, a Sooner State.
Did you go to the University of Oklahoma?
I went to Oklahoma University for 7 years.
What year? You might have been there the same time I was there.
Well, I was there 74 through 80.
Hey, I was there in 79.
Wow.
We
that's
might have
amazing.
seen each other.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So you went to the University of Oklahoma, that great state of the University of Oklahoma.
That's right.
And what was that like when you first arrived?
It was difficult. I guess at the time, lots of cowboys didn't like people from other countries. I had my rough times, and especially as it got closer to the hostage crisis and things like that, I had my moments. And but that was then, and it is now. But it's really unfortunate that was the case. But not much we can do about that.
Why Oklahoma?
Oklahoma's got the best engineering school, especially
They do.
mechanical engineering or aerospace. It is well known in everywhere in U.S. So I wanted to get the top engineering degree, and unfortunately, I didn't use any of the degrees. I ended up being a developer. So
How long were you there in Oklahoma?
I was there 7 years, and I used to be teaching in college for other students and things, but that was like a community college for a couple of years.
Now, you lived also a brief time in California.
I then moved to California back in 81, 82.
And what was that like?
Well, what happened was I did get an offer from NASA on a project, what they used to call for the space shuttle. You used to call that BFS, Backup Flight System.
Mm-hmm.
No one really knew that this department actually existed. They had 3 people there in case something would have happened to the shuttle. We'd be
One of
able
the landing
to. We would bring it.
Okay.
We'd bring the shuttle back. So I was one of the candidates to sit in that department. But my problem, because the hostages, which I had nothing to do with, caused me not to be able to get that job.
Really?
Yes.
And so there was a lot of paranoia going on at that time?
Yes.
So what did you think about California? It wasn't the California that you see today, right?
California has changed. A lot of liberal has taken over. It's a one-system party, as you know, from Sacramento all the way down. As you get closer to San Jose, Sacramento area, you have all the lunatics and a lot of attorneys. As you come to the LA, it's a little bit more moderate. As you go to Orange County and San Diego County, it's a little bit more Republican. And so I'm right in the middle.
So I'm going to ask you a question on that. So is liberalism a gateway to tyranny?
I definitely think so, yes.
Why would you say that?
I don't understand their mindset. I don't understand why they put guys into the ladies' bathroom. I don't understand.
So a lot of people would say that that's radical liberalism, and then there's a lot of liberals who wouldn't agree with that. They would say that that's more progressive. That, for example, like Bill Maher, he says that those progressives have actually made him look more conservative.
Correct.
Because he wouldn't agree with that.
Correct. I mean, the reality is, how can you sit in front of somebody else, a liberal person, whether a senator or a congressman, and not agree that our border is open? We've been getting millions of people coming in, jumping in front of. How do you feel when you go to a theater and you're standing in line and somebody else, a few other people jump in front of you, get the ticket? By the time you get to the gate, you don't have any more tickets. I mean, a lot of people have been waiting to come into this country in a legal way. And look at the high crime, and look at what is happening with all these mass shootings, and look at all the things that our liberals are actually advocating, and it's just going the wrong direction, in my opinion.
So you've developed other companies. You got into development. How
Right.
did you do that? And when did that happen?
Right. So my idea was, when you look at projects, you shouldn't just look at your background, background, to see whether the neighborhood is the right neighborhood or this, that, the other. My idea was to look at all the 50 states, and the reason I looked for this type of location was because my aerospace engineering degree, I wanted to be close to NASA. That's always been my passion. I'm sure it is yours too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the
That's why we're
space
here.
is really where we're going to end up. I mean, we're going to saturate this planet. 7.5 billion people. Eventually, we're going to run out of food, places to live, so on and so forth. So that's the reason I picked this location. And I've been in development since probably 1978. I've done projects in, say, DeSoto in Jackson, Mississippi, DeSoto County in North Mississippi, Nashville, Tennessee, Crossville, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama, Fresno, California, and also Los Angeles. So I've done multiple cities, projects in different cities. And this city is cooperative up to a certain point. It is a very unique situation because I don't think the city has gone through something as massive as this in regards to having a certain portion of a project is still with tenants in them, and the other portion, as you see, is completely being redeveloped. And so there's a lot of T's and I's that they have to cross and put the dots on. And therefore, we're really walking into a black and white kind of situation. But in other cities, I've had the mayor's supports coming in for grand openings and so on and so forth. And I will see how the city is going to react with the new administration that is taking on right now, because we do need a lot of help in reality, because we're dealing with FDOT, FDEP, FPL, Florida Gas, Spectrum. We're basically dealing with every single major industry, whether it's government sector. I just had lunch with FDOT earlier today. We just need to have a cooperation with all these different entities to be able to move forward and complete this project.
So hold that thought, and we're going to come back to that, because that gets into a larger picture of government regulations and have they gone too far. But I did want to ask you this. So just on a personal level, just go on some, I'm going to ask you some questions personally. What would your friends say about Jessie Wright? If they were speaking at your funeral, Jessie, what would they say?
If they don't like me, I'll just shoot them.
So there's not any of those left, right?
I don't think there's that many left.
So what would they say about Jessie Wright?
I think there's always professional jealousy. There's always, negativities in terms of, well, this is too much. I always want to go beyond the boundaries, things that, I'm sure you have as well, things that other people haven't done. I mean, look at Elon Musk. I mean, there are many, many failures, but in reality, you're going to have to deal with the little inch of positivity as this is going to grow and grow. I mean, to build communities for people here or other cities, I love that, because the legacy would be thousands of people coming here at some point in time. So I think my friends the ones that like me would probably like the project, and the ones that don't, but probably didn't get the contract, is not because of the fact that I didn't give it to them. It's probably because they were not qualified.
Do you have anything that you fear at all?
I don't think fear bothers me. I don't have no anxiety at all. From the time you and I wake up in the morning, and I know you personally, I've checked you out.
Oh.
From the time we get up in the morning, we think about solutions. There are many, many problems. You've got to be multitask as you are and I am. And as we see problems coming up, we should be able to resolve those problems in a very, very quick way, because there are other problems that are sitting, waiting for you to resolve. and you don't have a lot of time. You have to make a split decision, like what we're doing right now. We're sitting right in the middle of a road between the two phases. So this, we can talk about this later, but I saw this being a problem, and we had to move out 2 tenants to be able to create this road, to be able to get ambulances coming in, to be able to get to the patients and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's
So there's nothing that you fear?
No, not really.
So you have no nightmares? You don't wake up with a cold sweat
I
in the middle
sleep
of the night?
very well. I have no issues not sleeping. The only time I get up is something that I wasn't able to solve that day or in the morning, and then I just get my notepad, write it down, and go back to sleep.
What makes you happy?
What makes me happy is what other people's are happy and energetic. I'm very energetic and high energy. I like to see people to be happy, and there are a lot of sad times, but we got to get over it. And the fact is, sad time in life is going to happen. We're going to have ups and downs, and if you don't snap out of it, we're going to have to eventually snap out of it. So you kind of program your brain to get rid of that negativity and to stay on the positive side.
Do you think that America has actually become weakened because of where people are with those two questions I just asked? That they fear, and a lot of them aren't happy, and they've become maybe weak in some ways?
Well, I mean, look at mainstream media, right? So you have Newsmax and you have Fox. Really, that's all we have right now. And everybody else, I mean, every other entity from ABC, CBS, NBC, and the cable CNN, they feed people with their narratives. And I have not seen a liberal congressman or a senator with a Republican one sitting on the same table and agree to say, you know what, I agree with you. You have just convinced me. You've never seen that. I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon.
Why?
Two different mindsets. You have a typical mindset that is going for freebies, larger government, giving more money to people, making people more lazy to sit at home, waiting for grants. I mean, look at what's going to happen with Elon Musk and trying to trim down the government and get rid of the access. There's just a lot of waste. I had no idea about 2 or 3% of mainly the federal building employees are actually going to work. They're not in their offices, so where are they?
They're in their
so when
jammies at home.
when you and I call and you wonder, nobody's answering the phone because they're not there.
They're not up out of the bed yet. What do you do in your spare time?
I don't have a lot of spare time.
When you have some?
I do a bit of fishing. I go on a boat, but I can't take a vacation without my phone being with me. I always have to be in contact with different people, different subcontractors. We have close to about 120 people working on this project in different part of it, from the redevelopment side into the part that it still has not been demoed yet. So I don't really have a lot of spare time.
So we ask about what would your friends say about you. What would your opponents say about Jessie Wright?
If I was going to think about this for a second, I wouldn't really care. I wouldn't really care because what you think about me doesn't really change me. It all comes from your own brain. You run your body, you run the decisions and so on. And if they don't like what you do, then they don't have to be part of the project. They don't have to look at it. It's just like what I say to some of the people that came to the city hall. Well, your building is too high, and it puts a shadow on my, or they don't like the American flag, or they don't like Trump's sign. Well, you don't have to look at it. Nobody's up on the 6th floor looking at you being naked in the bathroom because it's hard to see, especially if you're fat and ugly. I hate to say that. But the point I'm making is that in reality, if you don't like to see something, don't even look at it. I mean, burning the flag right now is a big deal to me. This is a flag for people that are dying and fighting for us overseas. And I see Americans burning flags. I'm thinking if I was there, if they gave me a gun, if I could get away with it, I'd do something with the gun. But I mean, I don't want to be that extreme, but you just don't do certain things. We have the freedom. And if we continue to keep losing it the way it is right now, we will have no freedom.
So could you have imagined this when you were growing up in Iran,
Absolutely
that
not.
America would be where it
No,
is today?
no. I am so shocked. I cannot believe my eyes when I'm looking at the demonstration. They don't care about the police. These type of demonstration the Palestinians have right now, if this was in Russia or any other countries, you think they can be alive right now? They would bring all these water tanks, they wet them, they take them to jail. But look at what we're doing. I mean, this administration with Biden has been a joke. We had the balloons, we had the drones, and we wait for them to finish whatever they want to do, and then we start talking about it. What the hell did we do when they were actually out there taking pictures of the military sites and everything else? What the hell did we do? We didn't do anything. And this was Biden. And I'm glad he's going to be out in 3 days.
You married?
I am.
You have any kids?
I have 2 kids.
You have grandkids?
I do have 2 grandkids.
So what is that like?
It's good. It's difficult to be married and doing this and different states. Is the sacrifices that you have to make because some things you cannot run just being in one location. You know, you have subs all around you and you have to kind of make sure that they're doing the right thing, because if they don't do the right thing, I'm looking at certain things right now that is not right.
Right.
And I see the rain coming in and it goes right through that thing. So yeah, if I'm not there to look at these things, I mean, you can see the line coming here, it was not as straight when they caught this pad. I can't rely on a project manager, because if something goes wrong, I'm the one's going to be sued. They're going to sue the GC, but they're going to usually sue the developer. So I have to be in different locations, and these are the sacrifices that you and I have to take.
So do you think that that's the difference between very successful people in America and those who are not? So you look at a lot of your very highly successful businessmen like Elon Musk, like Donald Trump, like a lot of the people, Warren Buffett.
Like yourself.
Well, I wouldn't say put myself in that category, but those guys are driven, right? They're fearless. They don't think about problems. They just look at solutions. Do you think that that's a common character?
Yes. I think number one would be taking risk, and I take a lot of risk. Number two would be the estate.
Well, somebody would say that you took it on this Miracle City Mall. That's why was it called that, right?
Well, actually, Miracle City Mall case was different because, you know, they went ahead and bulldozed everything.
Okay.
Now we're dealing with almost 40 tenants on this side of the mall that we have to still service and make sure that they're staying on. But to answer your question, Kevin, risk, staying power, to be able to run and offer solutions. I want to know if a subcontractor says, well, I can't get this thing done, and here's why. I want to know what my contractor is going to say. I don't want to hear complain. I want to hear what you're going to say against that complaint. And then also being able to be in different locations. I mean, you have to go with the punches. I mean, the punches comes this way or that way. You're going to have to roll through that punches. So that's, I mean, look at Elon Musk. He was in Texas, it was a failure. I thought that the rocket is going to go all the way up. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But there's been a lot of, you know, trial and errors, and never give up. That's the point. If you give up, then you just become just like anybody else. You don't take risk, you don't have the staying power, and you give up.
How do we get here in America where that's not the case?
Changing of the mindset. Somehow during the Clinton administration, we were more moderate, liberal. It's gone with AOC way to the left, and we are way to the right. I mean, so coming together, I'm hoping through Trump administration we'll be able to do that. The Defense Department has to be back to what it was 6-7 years ago. I mean, we're not there. And as far as the Mallorca with the border is secure. Really? I mean, go there and see all the people that are coming in. I'm from a different country, so I'm not going to go against people who are coming in, but come legally. Follow the law. Respect the law. If you're here, this is the law. You're not in Iran, you're not in Germany or other places. There are different laws in different countries, there are different laws in different states. So you have to respect the law. If you're not going to respect the law, then you shouldn't be here. We don't want your opinion until you learn about the laws here. the Constitution, follow the Constitution. You don't care? Then go back to your hole you came from. I'll be helping you, taking you back. Just kidding.